What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. I am your host, your bastard of ceremonies, Reckless Rexx Ruger. That, of course, if you couldn't tell by the enormous chompers, is the Freddie Mercury puppet. We're back. This is where the cool kids come to chop it up with your boy, Reckless Rexx, a.k.a. Diamond David Lee Roth Jr., and I'm going to give myself a look before my guest gets in here just because I want to admire the view. Damn, sometimes it hurts to look this good. And you know when I need a little help, folks, that's my go-to. It's a new year, but it's the same old product. Get some and step your game up levels. You won't look this good. Rule that out immediately because that's damn near impossible. I, of course, am blessed with rockstar genetics. You at home are not. So, that being said, don't hate, congratulate, as I always say. Another great episode, man. But when are they not? Again, new year, same results. Pod Scum is where you come for the best conversations anywhere. And today is going to be no different. Old friend of the show, man, from a band that I absolutely love. The amazing, the eclectic, the always interesting, always doing something fucking cool and out of the box, man. The legendary, born right here in New York, the Fun Lovin Criminals. Love them. Can't say enough about them, man. Big things I think are coming from them in 2025, which is awesome. I do believe, and again, we'll check with NAIM here when he gets on here, man, but I do believe they have a new full-length LP coming. At least last time I talked to Uncle Frank, the drummer. So I do believe, though, that because their last couple of releases in 2022 and 2023 were EPs. Of course, last year's Capistrano sessions, again, fucking amazing. The boys are always doing something cool, man. Always a sound that really, you know, can't be defined by genres, which is something that I love. Always cool, always cutting edge, always interesting music, super talented dudes, just awesome, awesome guys. So Naeem will be on here very shortly. And, of course, now that it is a new year, as I have promised, we are this close to proving once and for all, DNA proof, mind you, that's conclusive, that you are looking at Diamond David Lee Roth Jr., a.k.a. the son of glam, the front man for the band, adored by millions of fans, the peanut butter to your jam, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, Mr. Wop, bop, blue, bop, wop, bam, bam, shazam, hot damn. Whew. I'm glad I got that all out, man. That felt good. That felt good. That came from the soul, folks. And while we're waiting for my guest to get in here, let me do the obligatory promotional bullshit because you got to do it. You got to be out there. You got to have the social media presence. And now, granted, I'm old school, 51 years old. As you know, nothing gets edited here. Life is happening. Well, I'll get to the promo mode later because my guest is here. So I'll promote at the end, and we'll get chopping it up with him right now. Let's get down to it, man. Enough is enough. This is where I need the Jeopardy theme song right here. Copyrighted for me, for my use. But I don't have it, though. So I don't. Oh! Look at him. I love it. The Wizard.
How you doing, my friend? Can you hear me?
Now, is that how I should address you? Should it be Wizard? No, I don't want to say Grand Wizard. That makes people think of the Ku Klux Klan, I think.
Listen,
I'll just go by Wizard. I'll just go by Wizard or maybe Gandalf.
I couldn't match your look today, bro. I couldn't.
I love it. I love it, man. You know what? I love that you put some thought into it. As a matter of fact, a couple weeks ago, man, when I had Uncle Frank on here, he was doing a very cool Halloween background thing too. You know, if you happen to catch his episode, he had a cool vibe going on, a little green screen behind him too, man. But
yeah, I see it, my friend Rexx. How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great, man. And I was just saying in my little preamble before you came on here, man, if I'm not mistaken, Uncle Frank said that you guys are going to be doing a full-length LP this year, correct?
Well, we actually released one already. We released one not too long ago, so maybe he meant that. But we'll be recording a new album for sure.
Recording a new album, right? So the last, so the last one was Capistrano sessions, then, correct?
So the last Fun Lovin Criminals EP was Capistrano.
Right.
And Fun Lovin Criminals, that's the album that's just been finished.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry because I guess when I say Uncle Frank, I'm referring to him as Uncle Frank because I've kind of adopted him as an uncle too. You know, I mean, so
I can see. Let me just take my hat off a minute and my beard.
Yeah.
That's better. How you doing, bro?
And so, so specifically, I'm speaking about Fun Lovin' Criminals. So there is a full-length album coming this year from Fun Lovin' Criminals. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's just being mastered at the minute, I believe. So it's being mastered in New York, but all the recording's been done. It's like, I don't know how much information I'm allowed to tell you about it, but yeah,
well, it is cool. Well,
finished and done, recorded. So
well, it really is cool because it's kind of a dividing opinion nowadays. You know, it does seem like it's a little more of a risk and a roll of the dice, you know, nowadays with artists putting out LPs, because it seems like it's almost an EP world now. Nobody's fucking paying attention anymore, it seems like. You know what I mean? Like, nobody puts down the needle and listens to an album all the way through anymore, which is sad.
No, I mean, do you? Do you listen to?
Yes, I do. I'm 51 years old, so I'm very old school. Yes, if I'm going to put put a piece of music on, if I have the time, I'm going to try to listen to as much of it or all of it if I can.
Yeah, it's very special doing that, isn't it?
It is. I think so. Yeah, I think it's the way the artist intends for it to be listened to, right?
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Yeah, I mean, I think, we put a lot of thought into the order of the songs as well.
Yes.
On the album, you know.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal, you know, how it plays through, and obviously the first track is super important, I guess, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But maybe that's not as important these days for the way people listen to stuff. I don't know.
Well, I know from talking to a lot of musical artists on here that I've really come to realize that what you said, the sequencing and the cadence of the album and how it flows, is kind of an art in and of itself. You know, I mean, it does matter the way those songs are put on there. You know, you don't just throw them on there like, here's 10 or 12 songs in no particular order. You know, there's thought behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yesterday, I had some family around, and we still felt like it was still feeling festive, you know. We still got a Christmas tree up and everything, you know.
Yeah.
And we were playing Scrabble, and in the background, I put on an album. But these days, I listen to an album on the TV because I've got YouTube on the TV, so I've got Spotify, so I'll play it like that. But we're listening to Frank Sinatra, you know, and my father-in-law was saying, "Oh, you know, can we play some, you know, one of the big band stuff, you know, like Songs for Swinging Lovers or Flower of Me?" And I'm like, no, you got to hear this stuff, you know. I like the the orchestrations by Nelson Riddle, you know, around 1957, 1956. Sinatra did a series of albums like Songs for Swinging Lovers, Where Are You, In the Wee Small Hours, you know, those three albums, they're super melancholic. But the orchestration is absolutely beautiful. Anyway, I put one of the, I think it was Where Are You album on, and it was just luscious. You have to listen to that as an album. But you know, halfway through it, he says, "Oh no, this sounds a bit depressing, this album. Can you put the big band stuff on again?" I'm like, "Oh man."
Although I just recently saw on an episode of The Family Feud, they had a question on there. And I can't remember all the artists, but they asked specifically what musician would people say is the best music for making babies to? And Sinatra was on there.
For real?
He was. But oddly enough, there were a couple on there that I would have thought would have been on there that weren't. Like Luther Vandross. Yeah, I mean, really romantic stuff. You know what I mean? But oddly enough, there must have been a lot of baby making to Sinatra music.
Yeah, Barry White, I guess, Maxwell.
Barry White was, I think, #1 on there. Yeah, Barry White was I believe he was #1. There were some weird ones though that I wasn't so sure. Like Elvis Presley was on there. That seems a little weird. I mean, you know, I'm not trying to knock the king or anything, man, but I don't think of that as like, you know, I'm gonna dim the lights and make a romantic evening for the lady and throw on some Elvis.
Yeah, not so much, right? Not so much.
Not so much.
I mean, did you know Elvis had blonde hair? Did you know that?
No, I did not.
He used to die. Now I've said that, when you see a picture of Elvis, you'll really notice that his hair is properly dyed black.
Yeah.
He's too pale, you know, blue-eyed. He's too pale to have like that kind of Superman haircut, you know.
Yeah.
But it all makes sense. If someone told me that,
it's
like, wow, you know, that's why he looks so kind of striking.
Yeah, when I was putting my notes together of stuff to talk to you about, and obviously I know the Fun Loving Criminals, Uncle Frank, Radio Riddler, all that stuff, man. But are you currently in a project, or can you explain a project called the Rayanists?
Oh, the Rayanists! Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came across it today. Is that a project that is no longer active?
That's no longer active, man. That was like 5 minutes. That lasted about 5 minutes.
The whole 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was some of my old school friends. We've been in lots of bands together. You know that we were called Smiley Inside. Then we were called the Whirling Dervishes, and then that turned into something called Roshan, which is like meditational music. And then the Whirling Dervishes got back together with members of Roshan, and then wanted to call it something else. So that was called the Rayanists, but we never actually recorded any material. We just did like a couple of rehearsals.
Oh, okay.
And I think the other guitarist in the band got really excited and probably, put up a load of posts about the Rayanists, but we didn't actually do anything other than a rehearsal. But so
I'm not sure if I asked you. I'm not sure if I asked you this the first time that you came on or not, man. But was there a specific album or an artist or a song that really got its hooks in you early on and really kind of lit the fire for you to want to do music?
There's so many, dude. There's so many, and whatever I say, I'm gonna think, why did I say that? Why didn't I say something else? So.
Well, there's usually something you have an early memory of,
My earliest memories is my father and mother's record collection, and the music that was in there is music that I didn't properly appreciate until I was a lot older. In fact, I hated them playing it. But then I grew to love it. So it was like singers like Joan Baez, singers like what's his name? You light up my senses. John Denver. Yeah, John Denver, like kind of the cheesy 70s music. But then my dad gave me 4 albums by Seals and Crofts. I don't know if you heard of Seals and Crofts.
Of course, yeah.
Man, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like I think he had members of Bob Dylan's band or some of the producers involved with his, but there's 2 guys, their music's just unbelievable. Of course, the Isley Brothers covered Summer Breeze and made that an international hit, but Stills and Crofts were a big one for me. But when I started buying my own music, I got I got into bands like The Cure. I love bands like that, and then
who oddly enough just put out a new album, their first one in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard it. I mean, I don't know, bands like that. Same with Prince. I get fixated on a certain period of their music.
Yes.
For The Cure, it's like Disintegration album. The mid 80s to late 80s albums. Wish album was it for me. Those albums for The Cure, I loved all those. And that's enough for me. It's kind of, I feel bad saying that because I'm in a band now that's made multiple albums, but as a fan, you can get, you almost don't want it to be destroyed.
I know. I get what you're saying.
You won't like,
No, I totally get what you're saying. I'm a huge epic Prince fan, and me and Uncle Frank have talked about this on here before. But there are certain periods where I was a little more checked out than I was during other periods,
Yeah.
Where I just maybe I just wasn't as tapped in or just didn't get the avenue that he was going in. I mean, I can still step back and appreciate, how genius the work is, but it just doesn't get me. It just doesn't get me inspired as much as other periods of his his career.
For me, Rexx, I mean, there's so many factors. It's like how old you are, where you're listening to the music, your situation at that time. All these things have huge impacts on how you internalize an album.
Yeah.
And if you're just listening to an album because it's the new album, that's not the same as, like, for example, in 1989, my cousin playing me the Smiths music and Disintegration by The Cure. And I was like 14 years old and we were on holiday and it blew my mind. because there's nothing else to do. We're in a room and he was playing me this music, and it felt like life and death to him that I heard this music.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if
You're
it's like, it will never compare to that moment, whatever they do.
Right. At that moment, that album was everything. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything, you know. So it's not that I don't like the band anymore. I love the band, but it's I'm not going to run out and buy the record. I'm not going to, but I'll definitely, I want to listen to it in the right way, you know. With The Cure, I think you need to lie down on the bed and turn the lights off.
You definitely do. Yeah, it's very
oil lamp on or something, you know.
Yeah. Maybe even be on the, maybe even be on the brink of suicide.
You know, it's interesting you say that, Rexx, because you know all the Cure's hits, most of their hit songs, they're really happy records. Yeah, I think the Cure get a rap. Yeah, I think the Cure get a rap for being a depressing band. You know, I think you're right about that. But I don't think that's the way Robert Smith intends the songs to be to be heard, though. No, I don't think he wants to depress people. In Between Days, like Friday, I'm in Love. Yeah. Just Like Heaven. Yeah. They're like hugely positive records, aren't they? Yeah. They're big hits. You know, I think maybe people associate his overall look because he does look kind of somber and very pale and very he looks depressed. Yeah, he's like how I imagine, you know, Edward Scissorhands. If Edward was alive today, he'd look like Robert Smith, you know, kind of a bit bloated now. Yeah. Now I got to ask you now. So you've officially been a member of Fun Lovin Criminals for how many years now? Oh man. 2 years, 3 years. 3 years, I believe, right? Yeah. Wow, that's gone so fast. So when I spoke to you last, I hadn't been in the band that long. Right. Really. Right. So what's the creative process like now that you guys are doing an album? And I know that Fast is such a prolific, creative guy, plays so many different instruments. You know what I mean? I'm sure he has a wealth of song ideas or whatever. So now that you're making a full length or have made a full length album, what was the creative process like? How involved are you in the creative process? Is it very collaborative with all of you guys? Me personally, Frank and Fast do almost all the creative work in the band at the minute, and they will say, "No, we want you to play on, these 4 new tracks this week, and then a month later there'll be another 3 or 4 tracks." Yeah, and so I'll spend a day or two putting down loads of guitar ideas. So some of them might be Fast or Frank might say, "Oh, we want this kind of sound," or we want a wah guitar here, or can you put a solo there? Right. And then the kind of rest will be up to me. Right. So there's a certain amount of freedom to that. I enjoy that. I like, it's nice to have like a specific role, and that is literally to play guitar, play solos, and give ideas when asked to. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's my role, and I'm absolutely cool with that because I get to be creative in my own way in my other projects. And what about touring? Because I know that as people progress in their career, I talk to a lot of guys on here, and some of them can be 20, 30 years into their career and they still love going on the road. And then I noticed with some artists, the more they're doing it, they start to miss their creature comforts at home, the wife, the kids, their own bed or whatever. Do you like that part of the business, the touring part of it? Well, it's funny you should ask that because Frank's Frank the drummer in Fun Lovin Criminal, and also one of the main guys. He his new joke is like, the only problem with touring is the actual gig, Yeah. He's only joking. That's not, right. But I mean, for us, like, I don't know. I mean, I've done nearly 200 shows with the band now. But it is tough sometimes though, because you are leaving. You're locking up the house. You're saying goodbye to the wife. What I mean, you're kissing the kids goodbye if you have kids or whatever. But like then you're going out and living kind of like a nomad. I mean, I love that. I do love it. And it is slightly different every time. Right. That's the beauty of it. Yeah. No 2 gigs are the same completely. But you've got to find your own peace in that. I mean, at the minute, the band just loved doing the gig and then not hanging around too long and just going back to the hotel and watching films.
Yeah.
I mean, as sad as that sounds, that's like heaven to us right now, because you know, that's you got a mad life at home. So when you're on tour, you've been traveling all day, you like that little bit of privacy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Just on your own.
Yeah.
But when I first joined the band, we would, as soon as the gig finished, we'd go out and meet the audience and sign stuff, and you know, and that was cool too. I loved that, and it felt a bit more complete, you know, doing that each night.
Yeah.
But as the shows have got bigger since I joined, then that's become a bit more difficult to do.
That's hard to do. Yeah, that's hard to do.
Know?
Yeah. It's like you can't shake everyone's hand and sign everything that they have. It's hard. Yeah.
No, as much as as much as you like to say hello to everyone. I mean, you know, it's not always possible. So I don't know. I'm not saying there's any one fast rule forever. Might feel like going out again. It depends on the show.
Yeah.
You know, some shows. I mean, the last tour we did, some of the shows were like 1,000, 2,000 people in Eastern Europe in a club, and that's like kind of big, you know. Yeah. So yeah, that was wild. But then some of the other shows in other parts of the world where we're not as big, we might be playing to like 200 people, and so it's a lot easier to go out when it's a smaller crowd.
Yeah,
because it's so much. You've just done a more personable show. Do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I do. Yeah,
it makes sense to go out.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you were out with one of my favorite bands, man, Urban Dance Squad. I love those fucking guys.
Oh, for real?
I've had a couple of them on the show. As a matter of fact, Rude Boy still has the record on this podcast for the longest episode. The last time he was on, I love him to death. Rude Boy, shout out to Rude Boy. Couldn't get him to shut up though. We went for 2 hours and 45 minutes, for God's sake.
Wow.
Almost a three hour episode with Rude Boy. And I've also had DJ DNA on. Yeah, I love those guys, man. They're the best. They're awesome.
We've done a lot of shows with them over the last 6 months. We've got the same agent.
Yeah, I hate the fact that they came around in 1989 and they were just so far ahead of their time, because they really should have been a huge band. I mean, you know, a band, you know, a lot like you know, they have a sound where they're coming from so many different directions, and it's just so eclectic and interesting, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a good match just playing with them.
Very.
I mean, all the shows we did with them were sellouts, you know, in Holland and Belgium. They were sick. Sometimes weird. They would open up for us, and then other times we would open up for them. We kind of swapped over, but no matter who went first, it was just a brilliant night each time.
Yeah,
it was great.
I'm wondering so I'm wondering when this new album comes out. You know, I know you guys have the huge following over in Europe, but will we see dates here in the States?
Oh man, we'd love that.
I know.
We'd love that. I mean, I think they're hoping for the album to come out in August, September time.
Yeah.
And it looks like we're going to do UK and Europe in September and October of 2025. So if we were going to go to America, it'd probably be towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it depends on, you know, if American promoters, they want us to come over.
Yeah.
That's what it takes sometimes. Do you know what I mean? It takes promoters to take a chance on a band, because I mean, certainly when I joined the band, it must have felt like they were taking a chance, because the band had lost its lead singer and guitarist. And I guess some promoters were probably a bit hesitant, but over the last 2 years, it's completely changed. We're selling huge venues now,
right?
From when I started, you know. So it's like the band are back on top, big time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And I also think what people might forget sometimes, because I've had you and I've had Frank on, and you guys have the British accents and everything, but Fun Lovin' Criminals started in New York.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
that's right.
I mean,
that's right. It makes sense.
Yeah.
To go there and play there. I mean, hopefully there's a demand to see the band. That's ultimately, that's what it takes, isn't it? You need demand, and if there's enough demand, we'll go.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, one thing about you guys, I have seen, I didn't even bother to try to write them all down. I think I might have thrown a couple out to Frank when he was on here, man. But you know, if you had to tell people what genre Fun Loving Criminals are, what the hell do you tell them? Because I've seen just about every goddamn genre there is, man, that you guys being labeled as. Some of them I don't even get, and some of them I don't even know if they even are fucking genres.
I think you know, the one that I liked the best of this was Schmoove.
Yeah, I like Schmoove. Schmoove is good.
You know?
That one works.
Yeah. You know, it's got rap, hip hop, funk, soul, rock.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you look at I mean, I heard this, I listened to this guy called Rick Beato. Do you ever watch Rick Beato?
No, never heard of him. No.
He's like a 90s producer, and now he's got his own podcast. He talks to famous musicians, and he talks about music and la-di-da.
Okay.
Really good, Rick Beato. And he was talking about music trends, and there's an artist, he has something like 500 million streams, you know, and his daughter was playing this artist. She goes, "Dad, have you heard this? This is like in the top streaming tracks at the minute." Because I mean, I don't know what's in the charts anymore. Right. I don't know if you do. I don't care really, but no one cares. But you know, you look at things that are trending anyway, you know, and this, and he hears this girl singing, and he's like, "This is like bossa nova. This is like bossa nova music from the 60s." Yeah. But it's not. It's like a new artist, and he realized that, like, you know, a lot of the new music that's come out isn't defined by any one genre. They're like, people are into loads of different genres nowadays. Yeah. And lots of different genres can be popular too. So a band like Fun Loving Criminals and my other band, Uncle Frank, it's like we mix it up. We do lots of genres because it depends what the song needs. You know, you don't want to be defined in one way. I mean,
yeah, that gets boring. Yeah,
of course. If every song had to have a rock guitar on it, I mean, I don't know how some bands do it, to be honest. They've got the patience of saints, but you know, I love all sorts of music, and I know Fast and Frank also love so many different styles. So how can you resist not wanting to put all the ingredients in you can? Sure. Especially on an album, when you get the freedom to express yourself like that, right? That's the beauty of an album. Yeah, is that you can show many sides to your creativity, but if you're limited to one song or a couple of songs, that's much more difficult to do.
Yeah, and it's so funny that you talk about the charts, because I do remember a time when I was a kid, when listening to the top 5, you know, when listening to Casey Kasem's top 40 was important. You know what I mean? Like, I knew it was
me and my sister would sit down, we'd write down. I've got a book somewhere, and it's got Sunday afternoon in England. They do the charts on Radio 1, and it was this big, you know, build up. The top 40 and the top 10 would go down to the #1 record, and we would write it all down. It's like everyone knew, but you know, nowadays, no one cares. Well, why would they? It's all bullshit now.
It is. You know, and I mean, radio is pretty much non-existent nowadays. I mean, nobody puts on their radio anymore. I don't think I've used my FM AM radio in my car in years.
Yeah, I mean, we're living in mad times, really.
Yeah, it's crazy.
In some ways it's better, isn't it? But in some ways it's not, you know. So maybe it's always been that way. Maybe we're just getting old. I don't know.
Maybe it is, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what you like. I like what I like, and you know, you just want to enjoy what you like. You know, new things that are coming at you all the time. You know, you've already got this back catalogue of 30, 40 years, ready to build on. You know, we're young people. Their vessel hasn't been filled yet, has it?
It's very hard sometimes. Yeah, it's very hard because, like, if I'm puttering around the house and I want to listen to music, and certainly doing the podcast has helped me a little bit, broaden my horizons, and have like younger musicians on here. But for the most part, I feel like I'm that old curmudgeon that just like listens to the old stuff all the time, and I don't, you know. But if I'm going to listen to music around the house, I tend to fall back on what I know. You know, what's comfortable to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you, man.
You know,
what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing, I guess. I mean, so I want to know, but in 2022, you put out Roosevelt Sessions. Last year, Capistrano Sessions. Yeah. So how come an LP now? I mean, how come not another EP? Like, what was the decision process
like? Good question. That's a good question. I I think sorry, I just flipped my computer. I think Frank and Fast just had too many ideas. Not too many. They had so many ideas. It's just like, let's make hay while the sun's shining.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not like we haven't released any EPs. We've done 2 EPs. So I think the natural step now is to do an album. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't that hard, to be honest. I mean, for me, it wasn't that hard because I didn't put as much into it as they did. But it's come about really quickly, super quickly. It's like, I feel like once this is done, it can work on new material again in a year or two's time, no problem.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the chemistry in the band is really powerful at the minute, you know, so it's not a chore. I mean, this will be the band's first album for 14 years of original music.
Yeah, long time.
And in that, and you know, we've already done 2 EPs and an album, so that's pretty much like 2 albums just in the last 2 years. So something must be going well, you know, because if you're not getting on very good, then the last thing you want to do is make an album together.
Well, it seems like it's a polarizing topic right now because, as I said at the top of the interview, attention spans have dwindled, and it seems like nowadays, you know, people put an album on and they say, "Yeah, I like this track and this track, and the rest of it I'm just going to discard." You know, I mean, I'm going to take away the 1 or 2 songs, you know, that I like. And you know, as an artist, is that kind of disheartening? You know what I mean? Like you put out like 12, 13 great songs, and maybe some of those deeper tracks don't really get fucking listened to all that often, or people don't tap into them. And you might think like, God, those were brilliant, man. Why aren't they resonating with people? Why aren't people tapping into those?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're using the industry machine to help, you know, promote your album, what happens is like pluggers and maybe the record label will kind of make a decision on what the single should be, you know?
Right.
And that could be the band's choice, or it could be it could be a mixture of all 3 of those, you know, different people, like the, you know, and so that's not always necessarily what you think is the best track.
Right.
It's the one that could be like the most catchy. So the one you've put your heart and soul into is probably not the one that they're going to lead with.
Right.
When they're promoting the album, it's going to be the one that took you like 5 minutes to write.
Right.
It's the most catchy, you know.
Right.
So sometimes the best tracks can get a bit buried in that way. But I mean, it's kind of scary, you know. What if that track that you love the most ends up being the last track on the album? You know, back in the day, that was a statement, wasn't it? The last song. And the album is like the final chapter in a book. You know, you kind of want to know what's going to happen. But these days, it feels like it's the last on the list. You know,
right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that sucks. But on the other hand, it's kind of democratic because the people can just choose whatever song they want
and make that the hit.
I guess so. But having said that, any band that, you know, is putting some money behind promoting their record, you know, then they're gonna try and push certain songs.
And typically when Fast and Frank are writing songs or whatever, you know, maybe you can shed some insight into this. You know, a great Fun Lovin' Criminals song, what's usually the recipe? Like, what typically comes first? Is it a title? Is it a line? Is it a riff? Like, what does Fast usually go to first? Like, what's his kind of like the method to his madness?
It's definitely not the title, because the titles have changed about 6 times.
Okay.
So, so when Fast and Frank say, "Oh, we need you to play on this track," it's called, I don't know, it's called The Alligator.
Yeah.
And I'll go, "Oh, cool, all right, yeah." So the next time I see them, they say, "Oh, can you put some extra guitars on this track? It's called I don't know,
the hippopotamus."
The hippopotamus. I mean, but what happened to the alligator? Which one is this? A new track? Is that? And so, you know, you times that by 10 songs, it can be very confusing. So it's definitely not the song titles first, you know.
Okay.
Although in some of my other Uncle Frank, sometimes we'll have a song title first and create a song around that. But I think with Fun Lovin' Criminals, I mean, Fast will come up with the vibe of the tune. In general, I'm talking about. So this could be some samples or a set of chords. he usually sets a real nice vibe in that way. And then as it's going now, Frank will come in, put a beat down on it, put some lyrics down on it, and then I'll put my guitars on it, and then we'll re-record everything up to scratch pretty much.
Right. Okay.
I think generally that's how it's gone since I've been in the band. You know, I'm not too sure how they did it before, but it kind of works really good that way. I mean, having said that, I mean, Fast has done some lyrics on a couple of the songs on the album, and I think I've had a bigger part in at least in one of the tracks that's made it anyway, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, I had a nice little set of chords on the guitar, a little melody and a little vibe on it, and then Fast took that and kind of schmooved it out.
Did his thing. Yeah.
Smoothed it out with some lovely, like, you know, lovely variations on the chord sequence. So that was really cool to hear what they did with like a seed of an idea, you know.
And now, so what do you?
Yeah, it's cool.
Now, so what do you and Frank do as far, or I mean, what do you and Fast do as far as like the vocal? Yeah, because I do see like full footage of a lot of the shows, and certainly, you know, if I'm not mistaken, Frank is doing singing, you're doing singing. But do you view yourself as, do you view yourself as the front man? Is Fast the front man? Because you kind of stepped into that. Because you kind of stepped into that role that used to be Huey's.
Yeah, I'm definitely not the front. I'm definitely not the front man. I mean, for one, I can't rap. I'm not a rapper.
Okay.
You know, I can't spit bars very good, and plus, you know, I can't do that with an American accent. I wouldn't dare.
Yeah.
I wouldn't dare. I did try. To be honest, I won't lie to you. I did try it. You know, I did send Frank and Fast a voice message of me doing the Fun Lovin' Criminals song with American accent, and I thought I did quite a good job, but I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to do that for a living. You know what I mean?
I think I think it can get a little confusing because obviously, you know, Fast is the only remaining original member, but I think a lot of people see you and they see that you kind of stepped into the role that used to be Huey Morgan's role, and I think back when Huey was in the band, I think he would have been identified as the front man, I guess. You know,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you love Twitter and you love Huey's account on Twitter, he'll be complaining about that all the time, you know. But as it happens, as from what I've actually experienced, no one gives a shit in Europe. They just want to hear the band. They want to hear the songs. They want to see us looking good, playing good, sounding good.
That's all that matters.
Fast is singing, and he sounds amazing.
He does.
Frank's doing the singing as well, and he sounds wicked. And people love it. If they didn't love it, we wouldn't be anywhere now.
Yeah. Yeah,
so that's how it is. So, you know, Fast will tell you, I'm sure, if you get Fast on, there's two sets of Fun Lovin' Criminals fans. There's ones that love the band and love the music, and the other set, which is mainly based in the UK rather than Europe, they're fans of Huey.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They're two different people, because Huey was a big personality in this country, you know, and he's got his own radio show. Fair play to him, you know, he's done great.
Yeah.
And people love him as a personality, but they can watch him because he's got his own show now.
Right.
He's doing his own show, so fair play. You know, so I've got no beef with him. He's happy to call me a clown and whatnot on Twitter and that. I don't give a shit. You know, it's like, I've not said nothing to him. Yeah. You know, so whatever. I got asked to play in this band. I'm happy to do it.
Absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
You know, that's that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and so give me the rundown on what's going on with the other projects. So we talked a lot about Fun Lovin' Criminals. I probably asked Frank this, but this was more back around Halloween time. So what's going on with Uncle Frank's band?
Right. Okay. Well, the last 2 years has been crazy with Fun Lovin' Criminals. So that's been, you know, we've played all over the world, dude. We've done, I mean, since I talked to you last, we've been in New Zealand.
Everywhere. I know.
Yeah, we've been in America, been to almost every country in Europe. There's some wicked shows coming up next year in continents I've never visited before. So I'm super excited about that, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, as a result of that, we haven't had as much time as we'd have liked with Uncle Frank. That's the other band me and Frank are in. And but we did put out an album last year called Diablo,
Yep.
And I'm really proud of that album. It's although our music's really eclectic, if you listen to all the 4 albums we've got out already, this one's the most rock. This one's definitely the most rock album because we wanted to be able to play it live, either with 2 people, 3 or 4 piece.
Right.
What you hear on the record is how we can make it sound live.
Okay.
You know, and so that's been cool. We did a gig a couple of weeks ago in our hometown of Leicester. So it was like a Christmas show. A lot of old friends and family turned up. So it was beautiful, man. And you know, it feels weird because when it's like a one-off show like that, and you've got just a few rehearsals, you know, to put an hour-and-a-half show together. And we've hardly played this album. We've only done 2, 3, 4 shows with it. Right. You know, that's a different kind of pressure to playing Fun Lovin Criminals. Like I'm almost like with Fun Lovin Criminals now. I've got muscle memory. I don't know if other musicians you've talked to talk about this at all, but it's pretty cool. Like your hands just go to the right chords and the right notes. You just know. Those songs are just ingrained. They're just ingrained in you now. They're ingrained in you. Yeah, and like movements that you do during the songs, they become repetitious as well. It's kind of very strange. So it's like it's almost like an out of body experience sometimes, you know. But let me ask you a couple of my subjective questions here. Cool. You know, because you've been doing so many shows, I want to ask you from a fan standpoint. Is there a gig or maybe more than one gig that you've attended as a fan that has really stayed with you over time? You know, an act that you've seen live. And I'm sure you've been to quite a few shows. I saw Bruce Springsteen in 2008 at the Crystal Palace Bowl near London. Yeah. And he was still young enough then to like to do knee slides across the stage. And you know, he was doing a 3.5-hour show, no support band. And you know, I'm a fan of his, but I think when I watched him, I realized if you get the chance to watch a legend or a legendary band, you should definitely go. Do it. You know, even if you're not a huge fan, you should just see why this person is as big as they are. You know, and I looked around the crowd, and he's like, for the like working class people, or I don't know, you call them blue collar workers, don't you? Sure. Yep. He is the voice of the blue collar worker, isn't he? Like a hero. Yeah. Working class hero. I mean, I think I was probably like the darkest person in the audience, but I still love his tunes, you know. Yeah, I like the Rising album. Have you heard the Rising album? It's great. I think there's some wicked tracks on that. That's a great album. But obviously, The River. I love that album. You know, I love Tunnel of Love album. Oh, that's a great one. I think that's got some of the best hits on that. Yeah, that's a great one. Now, in all your travels around the world, traveling, playing shows, have you ever had the opportunity to meet somebody that really blew your mind? I don't get starstruck anymore. I know. I hate to use the word. I didn't even want to go there and use the word starstruck or fanboy. You know what I mean? But even just somebody that you met where you were kind of like, wow, I can't believe I just met that person. Well, I stood face to face with Prince, but I didn't talk to him, and that I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't. That right there, mate. Yeah. That right there would have blown me away. He'd had nothing to say to me. I mean, the circumstances where I met him were I was working on the show, one of the shows that he played at the O2 Arena in London, 21 Nights it was called. Yep. And I worked on the main show with the support band Beverly Knight, who was supporting him now, British soul singer. And straight after that, we went to the Indigo Club for the after show. And, you know, Prince would come out. And it was a very, very long day. So we would start at 10 in the morning. And it was 10 a.m. And then it went on to 2 a.m. And Prince hadn't even come out for the after party yet. So I'd been working like 14 hours pretty much straight, you know, moving equipment, setting things up, sound checking, making it nice, just being on standby. And then Prince finally came out, and it was just incredible. And the keyboard, one of the songs, I wasn't even the keyboard tech, but I was the drum tech, you know. I used to be a drum technician, you know, a roadie, you might call it, right?
Yep.
So the keyboard player is playing, and something stops working. So I'm on my hands and knees trying to fix something. I can't remember, tighten something or change a lead. I couldn't get to it, so I had to lie on my back. This is while the gig's going on, you know.
Yeah.
It's a sweaty club, 400-500 capacity people.
Yeah.
And Prince is just jamming. They're jamming these songs, and it's like the artists on stage. They're just in the zone, man. It could have gone on for another 24 hours, no problem, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was lying on my back like that, and I had to get on my back to fix this thing.
Yeah.
And I saw someone looking down. And the band were playing, but Prince was just with his arms like that, just looking down at me like this. And I felt like such a proper peasant, you know. And I'm looking down, like, you know, you don't want to meet your heroes. Like, you want to meet your heroes stood up.
You don't want to be flat on your back when you're meeting your hero.
You don't want to be flat on your back, but I thought, yeah, that's about right. This is where I deserve to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's kind of funny that you say that, though, because if I'm not mistaken, the first time I had Frank on the podcast, he talked about being in close proximity with Prince too, and he almost talked about, and I really related to this and kind of thought, you know what, I could imagine that it would be like this when you're around Prince, but Frank almost described that he almost gives off like an aura, like a presence when you're around him. You know what I mean? It's almost like almost like otherworldly. You know?
Well, I mean, look, his entourage create this as well.
Yeah.
And I tell you, so the show we played at Indigo, he had women come out, and they had baskets with rose petals.
Yeah.
And they were putting rose petals over the stage, incense. So it was almost like you're walking into a temple.
Yeah.
Even if you're part of the show.
Right, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, everybody worships Prince. Yeah,
you're like backstage where the Wizard of Oz is, and you think it's going to see this guy with his pants on and, you know, his glasses and unkept. No, even backstage, Prince would have this aura, and
he's holding court.
Oh yeah, big time.
He's holding court. Yeah,
but, you know, and when it's like that, you've got so many middle managers. You know, so
right.
I'm sure if we just went up to Prince and said hello, he'd probably be lovely. He'd probably be nice to you, you know. But I don't know if you've been around face to face many like of your heroes or famous people, but you can get a bit overconfident and make a complete idiot of yourself.
There's that,
because you think you know them,
right?
Because you're so familiar with them, with their pictures, their videos, and their songs. Yeah, they don't know who you are, right? So you've got this overconfidence. And sometimes you can come across as quite insulting. That's what I found with people, friends of friends, that have come to shows, and they can make a complete fool of themselves. So I'm really wary of that now. If I invite,
I think Frank told a story, and it might have been with Radio Riddler, where they did a cover of a Prince song, and and he was on the phone with somebody from Prince's management, and Frank said Prince was in the background.
Yeah,
kind of wanted to know what their intentions were with this song.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I reckon that's how Prince would operate.
He seems like he's pretty protective of his songs because and everything that I've read about him, he wasn't really big on people covering his songs, even to the point where, like, they say that he would go into the studio, and when he was mixing and engineering, you know, he would lay extra bass tracks, or he would do things in a weird way that made it difficult for artists to tap into what he was doing.
I just think he loved music. I don't know. I don't think there's any hard and fast rules with Prince.
Yeah.
I mean, like the way he wrote the song Kiss, he wrote that for someone else.
Right.
And then when this other guy played it back to him, he was like, "Oh my God, that's so good! Can I have it back?"
Yeah.
You know? So I think he just loves music, and Prince wrote a lot of tunes for other people to sing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's like anything though. Anyone, he just was trying to have quality control.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like
is there one artist out there, maybe one or two artists, who you feel like, you know, as a singer, musician, whatever, has had the most influence on you?
Why does it have to be one?
No, I said more than one. It can be more than one.
More than one.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Well,
a couple people, a couple people that you feel like have had the most influence on who you've become as a musician.
Oh, dude. I'd say Jeff Buckley.
Yeah.
I'd say Harry Nilsson. I'd say Marvin Gaye.
Oh, I like that one.
I love Bobby Blue Bland.
Yeah.
You know, I said The Cure, said Prince.
Yep.
But guitarists, I mean, Jeff Beck, Derek Trucks.
Yes.
Wow. John Sykes.
Yeah.
You know, did the White Snake stuff.
Yeah.
Beautiful
He's
guitars.
great. Yeah.
Oh man, there's so many. Like sometimes it's arrangers of music as well. Like I said, like Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
Nelson Riddle, Henry Mancini, Ennio Morricone.
Yeah, geniuses.
Composers, arrangers.
Yeah.
I mean, like I love Burt Bacharach. I love Burt Bacharach, man.
What a songwriter. Yeah.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I kind of like that. I kind of like that there's a lot of artists out there, even at 51 years old, that I'm now just, these artists, I don't know if you've ever experienced this. These artists have been around a long time, and I don't know where I've been or whatever, but I'm just starting to tap into their brilliance now at this stage in my life. You know what I mean? Like I've just recently started to realize how great Paul Simon is. He's amazing.
Dude, he's sick.
He's fucking amazing. And I'm thinking
sick.
like, what? I'm like, why am I finding out at 51 years old?
because when we were younger, they were jokes.
They were
like this guy. It was the Art Garfunkel with the big afro, and this little mini me guy with the wig on. I mean, but they're unbelievable.
And then you start to get it. And then you start to get like this appreciation of them, like later, a lot later in life, and you're kind of, and it almost, it's happy that you're discovering the music, but you're almost kind of like, fuck, I wish I was listening to this for the last 20 or 30 years of my life. I feel like I'm playing catch up now,
I mean, the Graceland album.
It's amazing. It's a masterpiece.
Funky. It's so funky. And you think, how could that little guy, little Jewish guy from New York, whatever, how could he make music with
crazy,
with tribes in South Africa? Yeah, and it's unbelievable.
Amazing songwriting.
And the production still sounds better than stuff that comes out now.
It does.
Easily.
It stands up. Yeah, it definitely holds up. It holds up.
I mean,
yeah. And now, what if I had to take? Now, this is a question that I have. I ask a lot of my guests. A lot of them hate me for it, but I think you might have a definitive answer on it. So if I were to take you and drop you on a desert island, you can only take one album with you. What would be the desert island album?
Oh, that sucks, dude.
Don't do that.
That sucks. I mean, it would drive you absolutely mental listening to this one album all the time, wouldn't it? But so what I would choose the Goldberg Variations by Bach.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. If you've seen a film called The English Patient.
I think I've seen it years ago. I should rewatch it.
With Ray Fiennes in it. Ray Fiennes is in it.
Great actor.
Beautiful film. Very sad film, but the music in it's got the Goldberg Variations. And number one, it's a very long album.
And
it's got dozens of pieces of music.
Smart pick.
A very complex piano music, full of melody and mathematics. And I think that would keep you kind of sane, or would it drive you insane? But it wouldn't become too familiar. If you took any one album, it becomes so familiar with it. I mean, like, look, some of the artists and some of my favorite albums, I don't own their stuff because I'm so familiar with it. I don't need to.
Right. Yeah. I get that.
So my music collection's really eclectic. It's stuff that is not everywhere.
Yeah. Are you a vinyl guy or do you like streaming?
No, I mean, we had an old record player in my house, but there was too many of us in the house. We didn't get enough privacy to even play your own music. So the only way I could hear music was, so next to my bed, I had a little stereo cassette recorder. So you used to tape to tape. So it was like that. So it was tapes and then CDs.
Well, what about now? Are you a vinyl guy now, or do you use the platforms, the streaming platforms?
I use the streaming platforms.
Me too.
I don't know. It's the most convenient, isn't it? But I'm still hoping there'll be like a CD revival, because I've got about 3,000 CDs.
I've got a lot still too.
Maybe bought from the 90s and noughties.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, I've got so many CDs. I've got this.
I was just, and I'm like, I'm sitting on all these things. And as a matter of fact, my wife just asked me the other day, she's just like, you know what? Down here underneath the entertainment center, we've got all these DVDs. What the hell are we going to do with them? You know what I mean? Like, we don't even have a DVD player no more. You know what I mean? Like, now you can just go on TV and just almost order any movie you want, you know?
Yeah. I mean, look, do you think it could have a revival like vinyl?
Who knows? I don't know. I'm not sure how much, but I'm not sure if CDs were loved as much as vinyl was, though. I mean, I thought they were great. They were very convenient. I mean, but I liked cassettes. I mean, I was a big fan of cassettes. I mean,
yeah, but see, the problem is, like, I don't know if it's for you, but like, I need to like wear glasses now for reading.
Yeah, me too.
So vinyl's great because it's so big. You can read all because I love reading all the linear notes and
me too.
You know, the credits.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to do that with a cassette. And the thing is, you don't hardly get that at all with the streaming.
I know.
You know, you can get, if you go into Spotify and then you click the 3 dots on the song, you go to credits, don't you? And you can find out who wrote the song, maybe who produced it. Right. It doesn't tell you the musicians, who mixed it, who mastered it. You know, I love all that stuff because I love making connections and joining the dots.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I remember back in the days, even opening them up, even cassettes, opening up the gatefold, and you would read like all the bands that the guys would thank. You know what I mean? And a lot of times that would inform you on other bands to go check out. You know? Yeah,
but that thing is, that would be like enough for you, wouldn't it? It's enough that I could give you, you know, a CD or a vinyl of music, and like some paper like that with information. And a few pictures, and that would be enough for you to totally love an artist, wouldn't it? Maybe you'd find an interview in a magazine or something like that. But these days, it ain't like that, is it? These days, they want to know what you're having for dinner, what you're doing today. You'll get more likes for, you know, showing a picture of you in the morning on the toilet. Yeah, you will. But I've got a new album out. It's out. You're right. Yeah, I mean, it's great, isn't it? It's just how it is, though. I mean, I know people would rather. People would rather know, like, how you like your eggs in the morning. I know, it's crazy. I mean, it is. It's kind of nuts. But so where's the best place if people want to? Before I let you off of here, where's the best place for people to find out what's going on with Fun Loving Criminals? Because I know nowadays a lot of it is about the talent, but unfortunately, a lot of it is about being out there on social media and having people be able to find you. So if I'm not mistaken, Fun Loving Criminals has a website, though, correct? Yeah. Fun Loving Criminals. Is it .org? Let me have a look. Fun Loving Criminals website is mainly about gigs. Yes. Right? But if you want to know what's going on, I mean, funlovingcriminals.co. Yep. Okay. Then you get to the main website. But if you want, to see like stories, pictures, videos, you know, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, they're all over that. Fun Loving Criminals, all over it, and especially with the stories. When we're on tour, like there'll be about 20, 30 stories a day going up. I know. I follow you guys. And the reason I follow you guys is because I am unfortunately one of those fans that's here in the United States that doesn't get as much access to you as they do over in Europe. You know, which does kind of suck. And I do hope that promoters will see now that you have a full-length album coming out here, and I hope that we can get you guys over here. Yeah, it's huge. I mean, the thing is, one show wouldn't be enough. We'd need to do, if we're going over there, we want to do dozens of shows. Man. A proper run with the right, proper run with the right band. Yeah, well, I mean, Frank and Fast, what they'd like to do is like a double headliner. Yeah. In America, then it would kind of make sense, you know. What kind of band would fit with us over there? Yeah, that's what we've been debating, you know. But if we could find the right blend, you do a double headliner. I did it once with Happy Mondays back in the day. I toured with Happy Mondays. Yeah. And we played with the Psychedelic Furs. Right. And we did like an 8-week tour of America. That was sick. Because as excited as I would be, again, to see you with Urban Dance Squad, unfortunately, Urban Dance Squad is kind of in that, been pigeonholed in that same thing, you know, where they're big and over in their home country and they're big in Europe.
you know, but they never just quite broke here.
No.
And the sad thing is that back in the 90s, man, you know, with like Deeper Shade of Soul, man, you know, like they actually had a video, you know, that they had a video on MTV.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
But it's just,
I mean, the thing is, when you've left it, you know, with America, I think you've got to go out there a lot and play, right? Fans are super loyal over there, but you got to keep going now. Otherwise, you know, you could tour all year. You still wouldn't make a good round of the country. It's huge.
I know. Yeah,
like Texas is like the size of Europe.
Yeah, you got to go where your bread is buttered. So I mean, if it means Europe, then it means Europe or whatever. But yeah, I just hope that
we're spending 3 or 4 months a year just covering UK and Europe.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And then there's so much demand for us here. Why? You know, we got to play here.
I know. But like, I mean, but certainly Fast, though originally Fast originally being from New York, though, I'm sure there's part of him that wants to be that wants to play here in his home country.
Oh yeah, big time.
You know?
Yeah. I think that'd mean the world to him.
Yeah.
You know, especially because, you know, he loves American food.
Yeah.
And he loves to drive us to all the, you know, every fast food shop.
All the places
on the way to
likes to turn you guys on to all the stuff that's not good for you.
Yeah. When we toured America at the end of 2022, Fast brother Bill was driving us around. He's a really cool guy, you know, a lovely guy. He was driving us around, and you know, there's long drives, you know, 6 to 8 hour drives every day in between shows, you know. And so Fast would go, all right, I want to stop at this Wendy's, or I want to stop at this Shake Shack, or I want to stop at this, you know, Five Guys or whatever, or this whatever it was, you know. And what had happened was they'd get into a big fight because the brother had been driving 6 hours almost to arrive at the hotel. And then Fast would go, oh, just one more stop. And it turns out to be 40-minute diversion. Yeah. Just for this, like, Five Guys, which, like, you know, me and Fast, we eat, you know, we could eat a horse. We eat fast as well. So it's done in 5 minutes, you know. So then another 40 minutes around. So his brother went nuts at him one day. So it was I mean, it's funny for me at the back, but I mean, it weren't so much fun for the rest of the band and the crew. But I mean, Fast loves it over there, and I love it there, and so does Frank. We'd love to go over there. I
hope so, man. I really do hope so. I do hope so. So the new album, though, you don't have a specific release date, but you're thinking somewhere around August, September. You said.
Yeah, definitely. I think like record labels and promoters and they like to have like a 3 to 6 month lead up time so they can plan things ahead. You know, so. I mean, I wouldn't take my word as gospel, but the band are aiming for it to be end of August, September.
So I'm sure we'll start seeing some singles come out here, right? We'll start seeing some singles coming out.
Yeah, I know we're gonna. I was talking to Frank today, and the band want to, like, you know, video a whole bunch of stuff from rehearsals to collecting bits that we've, you know, videoed while we're recording the album.
I love that.
So before the album's released, we can get some proper teasers in, teasers of stuff we've been doing. Yeah, I think, you know, I love to see all that. You know, build a lot of hype around it, and we'll see. But the album's dope, Reed. The album's so good.
Yeah, you know, I imagine. Like I wouldn't expect anything less. Yeah,
Capistrano was like the real the lounge side of Schmoove, right? Yeah. No, sorry, Roosevelt Sessions. Sessions was the lounge side, and Capistrano was like the driving, nighttime driving Schmoove, you know. Yeah, a little more upbeat. Yeah. And this next one is kind of a lot more hip hop and rock influence.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. You know what?
Proper bangers on it, dude.
And you know what? I think that might be a good selling point in getting you guys to the States, because obviously, you know, here in the States, I mean, probably all around the world, but here in the States, obviously, hip hop is very big. You know. Yeah. It's probably one of the biggest. It's probably one of the biggest genres. Probably that and country music are huge here in the States. I mean. Yeah. Still. Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I would say so. So if there's a hip hop element and hip hop flavor to it, I'm sure it'll resonate with American audiences. Well, you know, personally, I like real melodic and slow stuff generally, but when we play live, the hip hop ones seem to work the best. Yeah.
That gets people going.
Sure.
You know, there's a track called We the Three that we do, and the crowd go mental for it every time. I mean, you know what works, because you know clips that fans put up from your shows.
Yep.
You know, obviously they're gonna mainly film the big hits. You know, so something like Scooby Snacks, they'll always post that on social media for the friends to see. But the ones after that, it's always like the upbeat ones where we come out into the crowd.
Yeah. That resonates.
Yeah. For me, as a musician, though, you want to like, oh, how come that one video's that, you know, that real sad, melancholic song where I do that little solo? I mean, no one cares about that. They just want to they want to be entertained. They want to have a party. It's cool.
Yeah. Cool. Well, congratulations, man. I'm super stoked that this album is coming out, man. And you know, we've chopped it up for an hour, man. I appreciate it. You're always so generous with your time, man. I always love catching up with you. And before the album comes out, or when we get closer to the album coming out, we'll hop on here and we'll do it again, man. Oh
yeah, that'd be great, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd enjoy that. And you should definitely get Fast on the show, you know.
I gotta run down Fast. Yeah, you gotta put me on with Fast, man. I've tried to reach out to him, but I don't know how big he is on social media, though. You know, it might be hard running him down. But you put in a good word for me.
Yeah, okay. All right,
put in a good word for me. And of course, I gotta get to the site, man, because I too need a sweatshirt like that says "Fun Loving Criminals." I need merch.
We can send you one. What size are you?
I'm a 3X. I'm a 3X.
No way.
Yeah, hey, listen, I'm sitting down here, man, but I'm 6'4", 250 pounds. I'm a big guy.
You're like a wrestler, then.
I'm very tall, man. And my son is.
Was that your old profession? Because you look like you're a professional.
I'm a professional nothing. I'm a nurse. I work in healthcare. Yeah.
Dude, I missed your intro today. That's my favorite bit of your show.
Although I did used to do a little boxing. I have a boxing podcast on the channel too. But I mean, I love boxing. But I mean,
you got send me your address, and I'll make sure you get like a care package. Obviously for a tall fat guy. Yeah, I'm a As soon as I get off, I'll send you my address. I would love that. That would mean a lot to me. Thank you. I mean, it might take a couple of weeks and whatnot.
Whatever. You know, I'm not going nowhere. Believe me.
I'm sure Frank will be happy to contribute some bits as well. You want a cap, maybe some vinyl.
Absolutely.
Wherever I can get over to the States. What state are you in?
I'm in New York.
Oh wow, easy. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in the same state that Fast is from. Yeah. Although I'm not down. I'm not down in the city though. I'm more upstate, like near Syracuse.
Okay.
Yeah, because every time I tell someone that I'm from New York, they instantly just completely forget that there's the whole rest of the state, and they instantly think that I'm like from Brooklyn or the Bronx or Manhattan. You know what I mean? I'm nowhere near I'm nowhere near like the New York City that you know of. You know what I mean? Where all the excitement's happening. I'm about 4 hours west.
Yeah.
So I'm not very close. I'm not very close to New York City. Like it would take me a while to get down to New York City, but I've been down there. It's great. I mean, there's always a lot going on down there, but
everything's going on there. Whatever you want.
It's the city that it's like Sinatra said, the city that never sleeps.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. But I really hope we get to go back. I'm sure we will. I just don't know when.
Yeah, I have confidence that you guys will too. I'll be there, man. I'll be there, without a doubt. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that'd be great. But look, I'll send you a care package.
Yeah, I'll send you my address as soon as I get off here, man. It was great talking to you, Naim. Always a pleasure, my brother. Yeah.
God bless, dude.
Yeah.
Take it easy, man. Happy New Year, man. Happy New Year. Thanks for getting me on.
Yeah, good talking to you, brother. We'll talk soon.
All right. Bye.
Later.
Dude.
There he goes, folks. NAIM CORTAZZI. That's my boy, man. Singer, guitarist, member of the Fun Loving Criminals, one of, if not the greatest band ever, coming at you from a million different styles, man. Yeah, you got your funk, you got your alternative, you got your rock, you got your hip hop, you got your fucking lounge, elements of jazz. Fun Loving Criminals encompasses it all. And this is sign language now for encompasses. I'm going to give myself a look here just to make sure after an hour-long episode that my quaff is still in order. Damn! I'm still looking good. and I'm paying homage to Pops up there, man. I'm excited. I'm in the zone. I've got the rock star genetics, man. I can't lose. And of course, I got my boys, the Fun Loving Criminals, coming on here, which is always a huge honor. So again, thank you to NAIM CORTAZZI. Always love having him on, man. A true friend of the show, man. If you don't know your Fun Loving Criminals, go do your musical fucking homework. Their last two projects were both EPs. In 2022, the Roosevelt Sessions, 2023, the Capistrano Sessions, and they have a new full length, as you heard Naim say, a new full length coming this year, 2025, the first full length album by the Fun Loving Criminals in Jesus, a dozen years, probably. I think Naim hinted at it in there, 10, 12, 13, 14. It's been a while since we've had a full length Fun Loving Criminals album. And as you heard Naim say, there's a bunch of bangers on there, elements of hip hop, elements of everything that the Fun Loving Criminals do fucking great, which is a lot. Love the boys, man. Love Naim. Love Uncle Frank, man. Love Fast. They are a potent band. Bring so much energy, such a fucking stage presence, man. Such a show, man. They are the best. They've been doing a lot of gigging in Europe, where the audiences are huge and loving them. But hopefully when they put out this album, we get them here to the fucking States. So if you're a promoter out there, man, let's get the Fun Loving Criminals over here, man. For God's sakes, they started in New York. So let's get them back over here, man. I'm so excited for a Fun Loving Criminals full length album, man. And back around Halloween time, I had Frank on, the drummer, man. And I love the guys, man. Such awesome guys and an awesome band. And they make such eclectic, interesting music. That's the important part, man, that keeps the fans coming back, man. The music just comes at you from a lot of different angles, a lot like my boys that I mentioned, Urban Dance Squad, just attacking you from a lot of different angles, a lot of different genres, a lot of elements, so much going on in the music, man. It always keeps it interesting, man. So love it, man. Love the Fun Loving Criminals. Thank you to NAIM CORTAZZI for coming on here, man. Friend of the show. Truly love him, man. And I was going into promotion mode before he came on. So let me pick up where I left off. Make sure to like and follow PodScum on Facebook. And also make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay tapped in to this channel where the best conversations we throw down on here, man. This is where people come to chop it up with your boy, Reckless Rexx, and the Freddie Mercury puppet, who contributes absolutely nothing, but he's back there. At least you got his teeth to look at. So with that being said, again, go check out the Fun Loving Criminals, man. Support them, man. Go buy some merch. Get out to a fucking show. Go peep their music, man. Get tapped in, man. Give those guys support, man. If you love your artists out there, man, do the right thing, man. Artists got to make a living too, man. Go support them in any way that you can and get tapped into the Fun Loving Criminals. You heard it here from your boy Rexx. And like I always say when I end these things, and it's a new year, but it's the same old phrase, remember to take it easy and keep it sleazy.